All right. How you doing, Carl?
Yeah, well, not so bad. I've had
Mm,
better days.
yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
felt
not
like
not not
same old, didn't
too.
it? Yeah.
We've all
Um,
been here. We've all been here a million times before, haven't we?
I know. I was just saying to one of the last callers, he had this plucky, youthful optimism, and I was like, my eyes have seen the pain. I've been watching Spurs since the late '80s. I don't know about you, but we've gone through a lot of hardship, haven't we?
Just seems to be that you get teased into believing it's changing, don't you?
Yeah,
And then
that's
you
the
get a
thing. Yeah.
result and a performance, and
Mm,
it's not just the result, is it? It's the
mm,
performance today that
that's it.
that
Yeah,
really sucks.
yeah, yeah. Should we talk about that performance? I mean, what what can you say about it? What can we say about it?
Well, but I think the worrying thing was, bar Doherty at right back, you'd say that was our probably strongest 11,
Good
which
point.
is worrying.
Yeah.
That's worrying when you bring Aurier into that back four, and that
Mm.
would be our first 11. Probably just about any Tottenham fan would say that, and it
That's
was
a really
just
good
no
point.
intensity today.
Yeah, that's a really good point because on paper, I was looking at that going, the only weak spot is Doherty. Um, and what do you put that down to? Because on paper, it was a very, very strong side. I mean, is it just the fact that like a lot of these players are burnt out because they've been, playing so many games, or do you think there's not been enough squad
Um,
rotation, or are we saying that these players maybe aren't as good as we think?
well, it's tricky. I mean, we've played what 40 plus games already, haven't we, this season? So you do
Mm,
wonder. But Doherty's not played 40 games,
no,
and Bale's not played 40 games.
that's right.
Um, and that was where the problem was today, wasn't it? Down the right hand side, we just
Yeah.
had nothing going forward.
Well, that's where they were
Um,
hurting us. Yeah.
yeah, and we all knew that Tierney was going to just have Doherty all day long for the first couple of minutes, didn't you?
Mm, mm,
Just kind of knew it. So
yeah. Mm. But I would say that aside, I mean, the whole performance was like short of something. It wasn't just down that side where they were hurting us. It was also
no,
the fact that
no,
they just their press just totally killed us, totally nullified us. I mean, we just couldn't do anything. We couldn't get into the game even from the very first minute. It took until the last 5 minutes when they completely sat off for us to have a couple of half chances.
just crazy, just crazy. I
Mm,
couldn't understand it. I mean, what happened to Ndombele today? He didn't cross the
mm,
halfway line.
mm.
We're so used to seeing him carry the ball,
Yeah.
and it just didn't happen today. He seemed to be going sideways. I couldn't understand it.
Mm,
Um, no intensity, no pressing from the
mm,
front. I
mm.
mean, Kane Kane either looked disinterested or just not fit.
I know.
So
I just said
play
I made yeah,
Vinicius.
yeah, yeah. I just don't understand why we played Kane midweek, knowing that we had a North London derby. I mean, surely you'd place you could even play Vinicius, and if you're 2 goals up, you don't need to bring him on. And if you need to bring Kane, you could have brought him on second half. But he played 80 minutes midweek, and now he was just trotting around like a show pony that first half. So I don't know what was going on with him.
No, no. It was we needed changes at half time, which
Yeah,
Mourinho isn't normally frightened to do, but it seemed to be the wrong changes. I
yeah,
didn't understand when the game was slowing up, why you
mm,
bring Sissoko on,
mm,
who is a solid player but slows the game down
yeah,
even more.
yes.
Um, you end up just questioning all the decisions, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything starts to get scrutinized, and you start to feel as though like there's nothing you can hang your hat on there in that game. I mean, the only thing you could say is the goal was pretty spectacular, but I mean, we've waited 8 years for that. So,
Exactly. And now, and then he gets himself sent off.
I know,
That's
yeah,
Lamella's career in a nutshell, isn't it?
that's Lamella for you. But I mean, to be honest, I mean,
Exactly.
I thought Lamella and Moore were the only ones showing a little bit of bite in that game.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think when Lamella came on, I mean, everybody knows it's a countdown to the first booking, and that you just know it's happening.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but at least he's carrying a bit of that passion onto the pitch, which
mm,
just seemed
mm,
lacking everywhere today. That's what worries me more than anything else.
yeah.
Is just
And what do you put that down to, Carl? I mean, do you think
well, I mean, it's got to come. It's
what
got
is
to
it?
come from. it was got to come from Mourinho to start with, isn't it? But then
Yeah.
once the guys are out there, I mean, if you're a Tottenham player, and
Mm,
most of those players out there today, none of them are. I mean, I know Ndombele was his first derby today. I understand, but
mm,
apart from that, they've all been there. They know the deal. They know how
mm,
important this game was. Um, 3 points today would have looked,
mm,
particularly with Chelsea and stuff results,
mm. Look
it
good.
would have
Yeah.
looked great for us. But instead, you know, we're going to go
Mm,
into this. We've got an international break coming up, and we're just going to go into it like we always do,
mm,
just scratching our heads. Are we pinning our hopes on the Europa Cup this season? You know,
mm.
truth,
Yeah.
you know, I, if Man United and Arsenal weren't in the Europa League, I'd fancy our chances.
Mm,
But Christ, we
mm.
get drawn against Arsenal and go out there. I mean, where do we go from there?
Yeah, I know it's a difficult one.
Crazy.
The thing is, what I'm noticing is like we seem to be picking up a lot of points off the bottom half teams, and even when we played Man United, Man City, they were like bottom half of the table, but we just don't seem to show up against the top teams in the league at the moment. Like it's almost like they're
No,
running rings around us. Even West Ham were like looking like the better team against us. Well, first half at least, and then Chelsea ran rings around us, and then Leicester beat us comfortably at home. I mean, it's just like is this a mentality thing? Is this a desire thing? Is this a mismatch? Is this bad management by Jose? Is it a fitness thing? What do you think it is?
well, I can't imagine it's a fitness thing. I
Mm,
think as Tottenham fans, we all kind of expected things to change under Mourinho as far as
mm,
style of play. I
mm,
don't think any of us were expecting this expansive attacking style of play because we all know
mm,
what Mourinho does.
mm,
And it's all well and good when you're getting results, but when you're not getting results, it doesn't take long for the rot to set in.
mm,
And you worry after a result like this,
mm,
where do we go? We got Villa, lose that game, and all of a sudden
mm.
the pressure's back on, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's got
We
it's
see
kind of
we
gone that way, hasn't it? All season, ups and downs.
exactly. We just when you think that we're turning the corner and we're putting a run together, we go and lose, and then we lose again and we lose again, and everybody's up in arms, and then we get a couple of great results, and it's King Mourinho again, and
Mm,
then you get a result like today, and if we lose to Villa, all of a sudden it's Mourinho's got to go, blah blah blah,
mm.
and we're all back to square one, aren't we?
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, and then each time, sort of like we win a couple games, everyone's like, "Yeah, excited, Jose in, we're loving it," and then lose a couple games, and it's like, "Oh, Jose out," I've had enough of this. We're very fickle. We
Exactly.
are we are a little bit of a fickle fan base, I have to say. It is a bit, but
Well,
we've seen
modern
that.
day.
Yeah,
It's the modern day football fan, isn't it? Really, it's just
yeah,
the way it is. We've all.
yeah,
I think most of us are a bit long in the tooth for that, but I
yeah,
mean, I think the problem Mourinho's got is,
mm,
regardless, will a lot of Tottenham fans ever take
mm,
to Jose?
mm,
You know, I'm not so
mm,
sure. I'm not so
mm,
sure. I think if he'd come in last season, changed
mm.
the way we played, and won us a trophy, and we were successful, I think people probably would. But I can't help but think maybe the rot's setting in already,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
that's frightening.
good point. Good point. I mean, I'm just thinking this. I mean, is he doing that much better than AVB?
No, no, he's not. When you look at the players he's got, and to be fair, he's one of the first Spurs managers who's been backed financially, a
Yeah,
number of times.
yeah,
Um, and you think about if Poch had been given that money,
mm,
what he would have done with it.
yeah.
Um, at least we may have been losing games, but at least we'd have been able to enjoy the football a bit more.
Exactly.
Because it
Yeah.
seems these days, even when we win, it could be quite painful to watch.
Mm, yeah, exactly. I mean, because you have to think that AVB side, it was probably I think the best points tally to not get top four ever. I think it was, and then he lost his job like shortly after that. And people say, yeah,
Yeah,
but Bale, but that's because we had Bale in the side. Well, there's a very strong argument by some people, here that say that Kane's better than that Bale. So you can't argue that on the player front is saving them. So I mean, that does have to get looked at, I think, and you're right. If the performances aren't there either, then the rot might start setting in, and people might start like pointing arrows very quickly at Jose's head again.
I worry, like I guess all Spurs fans do, that this is going to be Kane's last season. And I don't think there'd be many Spurs fans who would blame him, if he went on the hunt for trophies, because, he's regarded everywhere as top 5 strikers in the world, and the guy's playing Europa League football. Can't be doing it, can he?
Yeah. All right, come on. Let's finish up with some. Let's finish up with some plucky optimism, because that's how I've been doing for the last shows. Because everyone has a go at me for being negative, and I'm just trying to be honest and reflect what I'm seeing. But the modern day fan needs everything to be positive. So let's give them a bit of let's sugarcoat this a little bit.
Let's look at it. We could dip City in the cup. Let's hope they've got their eyes on bigger prize.
Yeah.
I think the longer the league drags out for them, the better. I don't think it's looking great as far as, I think they're going to have it wrapped up pretty soon. But if we can if we get silverware, hey, if we can win the Europa League, we don't need 4th, do we?
Yeah.
So, we could end up with 2 trophies and top 4. Would that be enough? It certainly would be enough for me, but whether it'd be enough for, Kane and stuff to stay, who knows? But we can do it. We're already in a cup final, so you've only got to turn up and play on the day, haven't we?
Yeah, and to be fair, when we won against Chelsea in 2008, they were in the Champions League final, and they were actually very strong side that year. So there's nothing to say that we can't pull a rabbit out the hat in that game. Who knows?
Well, absolutely. I mean, with the players we've got, we can beat City. We've proven it already.
Yeah.
It's just a case of showing up on the day, isn't it? And hoping that City have got their eyes elsewhere. I think if we can get over the line in the Carabao Cup, then that winning mentality, because that's what we need, isn't it? We need to change the mentality there.
Yeah, definitely. We just need to get over the line in one of these cup finals, and then, the bit of belief would set in amongst the whole club, I think. Yeah. All right, exactly, Carl. That. Brilliant. All
onwards
right,
and upwards.
Onwards and upwards. We get our hopes up.
We get excited.
we keep going again. All right, matey. Up the Spurs. Come on, and let's see what we can do in the next few games. Take care, mate, and we'll speak to you soon.
Good talking to you.
Good talking to you, Carl. Cheers, mate.
See ya.